What up, Darrell? I'm gonna get video. Oh, I forgot the video. How could I? Sheesh. Man, I'm tripping. Sneedles, power naps. Jark Cohen says, does anybody know about the Magenta Los mobile plan? I believe that is on the way. Jark Cohen. I believe it is on the way. Well, first of all, I probably got to turn on video. There we go. Got the video. Finally. All right. All right, just so you guys know, there is a poll for tonight's show. Video is good. We're there. Okay. Go ahead and vote in tonight's poll. I'm asking the question, or posing the question. I want to know how you feel about customer care. Is customer care important to you from your wireless provider, from your carrier? Big shout out to Jar Cohen. Thank you for that super chat. I will be getting more information about Los Mobile on the Magenta side. I'll get you more information. I'll also be posting to the Patreon on that. I'll be testing it pretty soon as well. Usually Los likes to treat us all like guinea pigs, you know, his people and his confidants. So he'll probably send out a SIM and we'll get to testing and we'll see how it performs. And I believe you me, my expectation is when Los Mobile does something, they always go for the best. They fight for the best deals. They fight to give you the best price. They want to get you premium access. Nobody taking any shorts on Los Mobile. So, love to hear you more of your take on Verizon's enterprise pull. Could be make or break in terms of long-term competitiveness. I think you're right. The hard thing to say exactly what's going to happen in enterprise because it is so greenfield right now. We haven't really seen much enterprise in LTE. There's a little bit of private networking, but it's really industry-based. With more industries that are going to be relying upon private networking and network slicing and with 5G, you know, I feel like it's going to be more of a thing, you know, in the near future. So maybe not 2021, but I think 2022 we're going to see some solid partnerships formed. We're going to see a lot of businesses looking for these solutions. My guess is that Verizon's going to win there. You know, the name recognition, the pedigree, the assets, the fiber. It's really likely going to be Verizon, but I think T-Mobile can get a piece. I think AT&T is going to get their piece too. And in the order, I think it's going to be Verizon, AT&T, and then T-Mobile. That's kind of what I think it's going to play out in terms of volume, in terms of more partnerships. I could be wrong. Maybe, you know, AT&T kind of falls back a little bit and doesn't give it too much attention, and T-Mobile gets a chance to sneak in. But I doubt it, just because I don't think they have the fiber to do it. I mean, they've got what, that small partnership with that company, Level Up or whatever they were called. I forget their names already, out of Manhattan. So I don't know, unlikely, but we hope. We like to see the competition. Sneedling's in the building. What's up, Nino Beatz? All right, so here's what I got planned for tonight's show, and I'll try to get to as much of it as possible. All right, so where are we at here? The first thing I want to do in tonight's show is I want to discuss T-Mobile and their marketing as the 5G company. It's really the big push in what they're doing with their advertisements, with their, what I like to call it a rebrand. It's not really a rebrand, but it's like I don't know, it's like a new focus, because they really didn't compete all that well in LTE. They struggled to really get past Verizon and AT&T. I mean, they couldn't really get past AT&T, and AT&T wasn't even trying. AT&T was buying up media companies and was ripe for the taking. And it wasn't until the merger where they actually got a chance to overtake them in postpaid subs and all of that. But now is T-Mobile's play, right? Now's their opportunity. They've got all this spectrum. They've got, you know, all these tower sites, and they've got all the Sprint customers. And now's their opportunity to get ahead in 5G, and I think they're capitalizing on it. When it comes to the marketing and the advertising, they are very aggressive. So, I mean, if you look at all the market people and the analysts and those in the media for telecom, they feel really strongly that it's working. The 5G company play is working. There's an article from Monica Alvin over on fiercewireless.com. I'm going to cover that in today's show, and we'll talk more about that subject. We'll also talk about their play in rural America. and why I love it, but I feel like it falls short a little bit only because I don't think they're ready to call themselves a rural carrier just yet. It's kind of like, it's kind of like counting your eggs before they hatch a little bit, but I'll give you guys my reasons for that, and I'll be looking forward to your commentary. Also, we're going to be talking about the iPhone deals from the carriers and what's been going on there. Also, there was a writer from FierceWireless.com. Her name is Sue Marc, I think. Anyways, these people at Fierce Wireless are incredible writers. I love that frickin' website. Those people do the legwork. They ask all the right questions. They ask the right people. They get incredible insight from T-Mobile executives, Verizon executives, AT&T. They get great stories, and they're great writers. And you could tell that these people are genuinely enthusiastic about the market and wireless networking, so I love it. Anyways, this writer, Sue, she just got Verizon 5G Home, and she shared her experiences about the setup, the installation, the performance, all of that. So I know a lot of you are starting to see the Verizon 5G Home become available to you, and I know a lot of you are happy about that, and I'm a customer of that service at the bakery, and I love it, and I can't wait for more of it to come to the market so people can enjoy it. And it brings a new competitor for cable ISPs and even fiber, who knows. But you can't lose when you have multiple competitors in an industry. So she shared some of her initial experiences, and I want to cover that a little bit and then kind of compare mine. Also, T-Mobile is providing some commentary on their argument for a 12 gigahertz auction. 12 gigahertz is a spectrum that is operated as satellite. And this brings Dish into the fold. And we know about the Dish and the T-Mobile situation. So this is going to get kind of hairy, and this is going to get kind of stinky. And we know how Eugene and Charlie can't get along. So this could make for some fireworks. Anyways, those are the main stories of tonight's show. Don't forget to vote. In the live chat, you'll see a poll. Vote if you want to vote. Your vote counts. So go ahead. Tell me if customer care is important to you when it comes from your carrier. So when you call, you need help, you need a refund, you got a billing issue, accounting, adding lines, yada yada, whatever you're doing, ordering phones, shipping stuff, problem with service. How do they respond? How do they treat you? Do you rate them 5 stars out of 5? Do you rate them 4, 3, 2, 1? All right. Do you think that they're good enough? Do you think they're not? How important is it to you? All right, so we are officially like 23 minutes in from when I first started playing the music as we went through the audio situation. All right, so big shout out to the Patreon community, whether you're new or old. Also, big shout out to all the SMT viewers, subscribers. If you're lurking, like you've been hanging out, watching videos, but you haven't subscribed, you know what you got to do. You got to subscribe and then turn on the bell notifications so you never miss an upload, whether it's a live stream podcast or it's a video. Appreciate you guys very much. Texas Marine starts things off here with a super chat. Isn't real coverage a merger stipulation? Not something they really want to do. So Texas Marine, you are right, sir. It is a merger stipulation. Excuse me. But the more they do it, the more money they make. So they're obviously incentivized. They want to generate as much revenue as possible. It's a market they haven't really tapped into. So I think that's where my angle is they're motivated in more than one way. Is kind of where I'm looking at it. Whether it's just revenue or merger stipulations. And if you think about it, if the money motivates you, so be it. Provide coverage to people that could use it. Thanks for that super chat, by the way. Kamikaze Kid also followed up with a super chat. Thanks for all the work that you do on this channel to keep us informed in the cellular tech world. Thanks, man. I appreciate that support. Everybody who offers super chats and donos, thank you guys for everything. Thanks for all that you do for the channel. I'm happy to do it. It's a labor of love. I enjoy it. It's it's a very rewarding hobby as I go around and test all these networks, and I get to buy phones and lines of access, and honestly, it's a lot of fun, and I'm sure some of you do it on your own time. So, I mean, here you are. You're on the podcast, you're watching, you're commenting, and some of you are Patreon supporters, so you're big fans of the craft, and, the creating content part is also fun. So, I can tell you guys, it's a good time. James, welcome to the show, man. All right, y'all. Let's start with this T-Mobile 5G carrier stuff. Okay, so the story is from Monica Alvin, September 22nd. This was a couple of days ago. She dropped the story. She titled it, T-Mobile Gains Credibility in Smaller Markets as the 5G Company. So this all stems from, I think it was Wednesday, maybe Tuesday, and it actually may have started Monday. But the CEOs were speaking. So that's CEO of T-Mobile, Mike Sievert, and then you also have John Stankey from AT&T, and then Hans Vestberg from Verizon. So over the course of the last few days, they were at this conference. Goldman Sachs, I think, was one of them. I think there's another one, too. I forget the name of them. There's always so many. Anyways, he offered some commentary. He said that his company is really focused on rural areas. Not because that's where it's promised to build out 5G, but because it's the size of the prize. So what he's basically saying here is that the return and the potential gains for T-Mobile as a company, they stand to profit in a big way. It's worth the investment. And it's worth the focus and the dedication of getting, all of the business assets in these segments of the country. It's a segment that they haven't really propelled in. It's a segment that I don't want to say they've overlooked, but they haven't gotten a chance to get there. It almost feels like their inability to gain rural customers kind of shows that they haven't been able to penetrate a really critical part of the country. Their existence as a company, going all the way back decades ago, right? So we're talking over the last 20 years. They haven't really had that real presence. And now as a new, larger company, and you kind of sort of have to look at T-Mobile as a new company. New CEO, new vision, new goals, new aspirations. They're no longer just trying to be, they're not just trying to partake. They're trying to take over, right? So they've got Sprint assets in the form of tower sites, and they've got all this spectrum. And, they've got a ton of it. And they're advertising like crazy. Now it's time for them to get serious with rural America. Again, it's a segment that has been untapped for them mostly, and they could stand to benefit quite a bit. And, like when you think about what Texas Marine was saying earlier in the live chat, he alluded to it. A merger stipulation, but something they really want to do. And I think it's both. I think even without the stipulation, they were going to enter the segment. It wouldn't make sense not to, because customers are looking for more options. And maybe they're paying a lot of money with Verizon, and maybe they're paying a lot of money for AT&T, and maybe those options aren't even that great as it is. Maybe they want Netflix on us. Maybe they want HBO Max. Maybe Verizon doesn't do it for them anymore. Maybe they're sick of the Band 13 only sites. I don't know. Anyways, big wireless carriers like Verizon and AT&T traditionally really don't pay too much attention to rural America. They have tower sites there, like coverage, but they don't do anything special. They don't really focus on the community aspect of rural America. They don't really look to grow there because they don't feel there's much growth potential. But see, for a company like T-Mobile, they don't have anything there. So all they can do is up. That's the only way to go. They can't go down. They can't lose market share because they never really had it. So I think that's kind of how they're looking at it. You can go into this unattractive segment where it's like you got this huge geographical space and it's not very densely populated, so you may feel like, oh, well, the return of investment just really isn't there. So Verizon and AT&T kind of neglect it. Well, then why don't you position yourself to just go in and make it a complete, just like a coup? Go in there and take all those customers. Why not? Give them better pricing, give them a better service. I don't know. Maybe it could work, right? It's possible. It's all financially analyzed by the carriers, if it's worth it or not for them to go into these places and invest. But T-Mobile did make a lot of promises to get the merger with Sprint approved, and one of them was to cover rural areas with coverage. And once you've got the coverage, you can also build the stores, because the stores can sell your services and they can sell devices. And I'm not saying you got to build a 10,000 square foot T-Mobile store, but hey, build the stores, put some sales reps in there, serve the customers, give them some customer care, have the devices there, do the activations, sell the postpaid, sell the prepaid, sell the home internet. That would be a great idea. Big shout out to Alexis. Thanks for that super chat. Has anyone connected to SNMP to home internet routers to gather stats and performance? Seems like we can uncover some serious gaps. That would be interesting. I'd love to know. If anybody wants to get a hold of me and send me any of this info, any of the tools that you're using, any of the data that you collect, please do email me. My Gmail address is in the description box. What's up, Adam? Good to see you. So it is mandated. It is finable. It is built into the T-Mobile and Sprint merger concessions, the agreements, the terms that they do have to build in rural America. But I just feel like it makes sense. They don't have market share. They don't have presence. This would be their opportunity. Now, already, right off the rip, T-Mobile is starting to identify. They're making gains with respect to their brand reputation. People in rural America are starting to kind of see T-Mobile a little bit more positively. T-Mobile has a pretty good grasp of urban environments. They are very popular in the urban setting. People know what T-Mobile is and what they represent. They were the original unlimited carrier. They are the original, Netflix on Us promotional perks and stuff. The John Leisure company, long hair, pink, all that. Urban America knows that. But like rural and suburban, maybe not as much. So there is an opportunity there. The home internet, I think, is likely going to receive a huge spark if and when we start to see these sites getting built out more and we start to see tower builds in these rural parts and then stores being built. I don't care what it takes. If you are trying to sell T-Mobile home internet in rural America, you need to get that sucker in the store to show people what they can use and what they can do with this. Now, I don't know if the Nokia trash can is the answer. I don't think it is. I think some new hardware that's better performer, better at heat management, better antennas, and maybe a little bit more customizable for people in rural America, for external antennas and other things. I'm just saying there's huge upside for the T-Mobile home internet because people in these places typically have DSL. They're typically looking at satellite internet options like HughesNet and Viasat and crap like that. Legacy cable maybe, which is really, really old, could be rotted, bad drops. They're not fixing the hardware. They're not upgrading, all that infrastructure. And when you think about it, more carriers are going into the segment over the next few years. Like Verizon is going to really start taking fixed wireless access seriously. They gave us that indication this week. Starlink is going to be a big player. There are localized and regional wireless ISPs that are coming. Small startups that are going to get on the federal money. Those federal dollars that are going for this EBB program, these companies are going to be building out smaller networks and using unlicensed spectrum like CBRS. And they're going to offer like 50 plus megabits per second for like $18 per month. So T-Mobile is about to get some heavy competition. They should want to expedite getting the service out as much as possible. Getting people on their service, they start to like it, they're less likely to leave. If you're going to enter a market that already has like 3 fixed wireless options, it makes it that much harder to gain traction. So the sooner they do this, the better. So in my opinion, Texas Marine, I think they're very motivated to get things going in rural America. And as they have become this 5G carrier, it would be wise to do all of these things. So, in kind of speaking to T-Mobile as the 5G company, I think that perception is really starting to grow. I kind of alluded to the branding as the 5G company. They're trying to change the brand reputation as instead of it being like this cheap, affordable, discount bargain carrier, they're not really doing that anymore. They're kind of sort of spinning themselves as a somewhat premium carrier because they offer the 5G network. That's just an example about like how dedicated and how much attention T-Mobile knew it needed. their brand had such issues for so long. They were known as the cheap carrier. Like, everybody would say the same thing. They'd say stuff like, you know, oh, T-Mobile doesn't work, or they have no signal, or they don't have enough towers. They're not as big as Verizon or as big as AT&T. I can't trust them. You know, they've been trying to upgrade that network side, and then they can push it forward with the branding. Interesting statistic from Mike Sievert. We're up 52% from just a year ago in terms of the reputation of people saying, hey, that company is the 5G company. I remember when I did that story on the stats, it was like, who's got the best, which company is associated with 5G? And Verizon was like 43%. I think T-Mobile is like 19% or something. I would bet that T-Mobile is probably up closer to like 28% now. Something like that, you know, or even up over 30%. And I think it's a testament to their marketing strategy, their relentless approach to really pushing the advertisements, blasting the message. We're the 5G company, 5G ultra capacity, extended range 5G. They consistently send that message, the same message, over and over again until they are blue in the face and until your ears are blue. It's an old classic marketing technique where you just force feed the consumer of the advertisements that they just have no way to avoid it. It's just smack dab in their face. You turn on the TV, ads for T-Mobile, 5G, 5G, 5G. 5G ultra capacity, extended range 5G. We're the 5G carrier. They put up the maps. They put the beams, the pink magenta beams, the laser beams. They show pictures of the tower, people using their phones. And they just keep doing that over and over again. Whether it's true or it's not, makes no difference. The advertisement is just completely bombarding you. You cannot avoid it. It becomes like a stain. It becomes like a tattoo. Now the music and the imagery, it's all in your head. You remember it and you know it. Furthermore, I think it's also wise that they also got into some distribution with Walmart and Best Buy. I think that was an important change, especially for rural America. When you think about like all the hiring that they're going to be doing and these hometown experts things, they got the strategic partnerships with those two national retailers. T-Mobile didn't really have national retail before. Now this gives it to them. And they're also going to be doing Metro in those stores, so you got prepaid. And, you know, now that they're in Best Buy, they're going to join Verizon and AT&T for retail. They never used to have that before. So if you ever went to a Best Buy store, you're basically buying an AT&T, Sprint, or Verizon phone and service, right? And now you got T-Mobile in there. They replaced Sprint. Took a while, but they got that transition done. And remember, Walmarts are in rural America too. You know, they're in suburbs, they're in urban areas, they're in rural America. Sievert also made a point to bring up T-Mobile's 5G mid-band deployment compared to its rivals. That would be AT&T and Verizon. So for the mid-band piece, he mentioned that AT&T and Verizon are mostly just kind of waiting and banking on their C-band spectrum and how they're kind of waiting on that and they won't have full access to it for a couple of years. He says that, you know, they're not going to be very fast. He was quoted as saying, we will have 300 million people covered by the end of 2023 with ultra capacity 5G. And that's 400 megabits per second. Transformational speeds and capacities. They're not even going there. There's a reason. It's really hard to do. Do you know that getting from 200 million people to 300 million people is 5 times the landmass you've got to cover? And that's in our funded plan and the capital plans we've already showed you. We're going there, and we're going there right now. So if you are going to listen to Mike Sievert, he's basically saying T-Mobile's going to be the one building out 5G. They're going to build it out bigger than AT&T, and they're going to build it out bigger than Verizon. We'll have to see. I mean, they have to show and prove. They haven't really... I mean, they lost LTE. They were not able to do that in LTE. So I'm not really sure why we should automatically just believe them that they're going to do it in 5G, but we'll see. T-Mobile has lived up to a lot of its things, right? They did say that we're going to focus on rural, and they're trying. They did say that they were going to improve coverage, and they did. We're going to improve capacity, and they did. So they have followed through on some things. So their track record may be spotty in some aspects, but I think they do want to build a very strong network. I think that is their end game. That's what they want to do. Big shout out to Green. Sneed, my friend, sent you some more results of T-Mobile through email. The test results in the same market. Okay, I got that, Green. I'll be making some shorts videos this week, and I will include you as a spotlight on one of my videos. So appreciate for you sending that out to me, and thanks for that. I will be making some shorts, absolutely. All right, hope you have a good doctor's appointment, Lawrence. Hope all is well, man. All right, let's talk a little bit about this this rural side. All right, so what is T-Mobile doing to focus on rural America? And why do I believe that they are making that effort? All right, so this story also out of fiercewireless.com. The author is Bevan Fletcher. T-Mobile pushes rural focus with $25 million going into small town grants. So T-Mobile has made rural America a clear aim. It's a target that they really want to push on their brand recognition, their tower site deployments, right? The 5G aspect, doing some retail, doing stores. And then they got this initiative, the Hometown Grant Program. All that is to show investment into rural America. The basic premise is that as you're building out a 5G network, as you're building out your wireless network, you're also going to be building out a retail presence. Give people stores to go into to buy products from and services. And take from AT&T and Verizon, whom have historically dominated those consumer segments. You know, so that's what they're trying to do. Some of the things that I'm seeing from commenters, people that watch my videos, is that T-Mobile is not really trusted in rural America. They're not trusted for the coverage. They're not really trusted to be able to provide people with the extended coverage that they're getting from AT&T and Verizon, because historically they have had the larger networks. But the carrier is trying to change that. This week they announced 25 small town winners, part of a 5-year commitment to provide $25 million in grants for community projects alongside earlier stated plans to hire 7,500 new employees in those small towns and rural areas. They are doing a nice job of making their presence felt in these places. They're, I guess, addressing all types of issues in these places, safe homes for abused women and children, revitalizing and creating full-time performing arts centers, creating and enhancing green spaces like city parks, playgrounds, dog parks, baseball complexes, converting an undeveloped city lot into an outdoor accessible classroom with public Wi-Fi. That's good stuff, good investments. That's going to go a long way with those community members. States it's just, the list is everywhere. All right, Alabama, Arkansas, California, Illinois, Indiana, Idaho, Kansas, Michigan, Mississippi, North Carolina, New Mexico, Ohio. And by the way, it's the Bowling Green area. And for those of you that know Bowling Green, it's kind of rural. I mean, they have the college, they got the university, but it's still pretty country. All right, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Washington State. T-Mobile already says it wants to open 200 brick-and-mortar retail stores in rural America by the year's end. T-Mobile recently disclosed plans to have a third-party rural presence by setting up more than 200 kiosks in places like hardware stores or device repair shops in small towns and communities by the end of this year. So that's pretty cool. Better presence. That's interesting. I think the kiosk approach in random retail shops is kind of interesting. I wonder if that's going to catch any traction. It could work if the employees are local, they work at the stores already, and then you just train them and give them access to systems so they can do activations. That way you don't need like dedicated management teams. You just kind of like have like sales associates and customer care reps. And then it's like faces people know because those people work at the store already. And they're shooting for over 400 total new rural locations between the kiosks and the actual brick and mortar stores. As for the job commitments, this one's kind of interesting. I remember looking back at the whole like merger fallout. T-Mobile fired or laid off like 6,000 people. So they want to, I think, hire like 7,500 new workers. That would still only put them at plus 1,500. They're going to come up short, so I'll talk about that in a bit. They are saying that by the end of this year, they'll have 5,600 new customer care jobs. That would probably cover up the gap. By 2024, the combined company would employ 11,000 additional workers, which would be more than the Sprint and T-Mobile separate companies would have had. That's what they say. I'm not really sure. You'd have to check that out. There's other things that they have to follow through on. Besides the jobs for nationally, I mean, that's one angle, but like the California Public Utilities Commissions has their own requirements for T-Mobile, so they're going to have to follow up on that as well. Hey, Los, I'm not doubting that the coverage is suspect in Utah, but hey, they're saying that they're going to build out, man. Let's see what else. From this same story, or from some of the commentary from Mike Sievert, T-Mobile is still guiding somewhere in the neighborhood of about 5 million postpaid customers added this year, and 3 million are estimated to be postpaid. So I'm guessing if you look at the first quarter, second quarter, and the most recent third quarter results, I think their fourth quarter, oh, we didn't get third quarter yet. The first two quarters, I think the third quarter, we can kind of predict it. I think they're going to fall just short of 1 million ads. I think they're going to be somewhere around like 700,000 or something. The growth is just slower than it was before. It's like half, right? There's no Sprint to take from. AT&T is more aggressive, and really, you know, you're just going to be taking a little bit from, you know, a little bit of the organic growth and adding free lines. That's really all that's left with no Sprint. But, I mean, these are good numbers. They're just not the John Leisure dedicated T-Mobile when Sprint was around numbers, you know, so it's going to be hard to do that. T-Mobile is now indicating that they are picking up with business with the pandemic period kind of normalizing. They have said that they have bounced back a little bit from, you know, the breach, the data breach. That was a little bit of a setback there. The iPhone 13 promotions appear to be really kicking up. They're up to $1,000 off on the iPhone. I think they're giving up to $800 in trade-in value, and then they've got like gift cards and other things. But the whole industry they're running promos. Hey, believe you me, Term, I know he's speaking the truth. I know, man. That dude drives every part of those states, so I know. Anyways, their T-Mobile's focus is to get people in these 5G phones. They want to start moving the network ahead. They want to, you know, get as much spectrum on 5G as possible. They want to get more people on these newer phones, get them on these wider channels, you know, and have those people enjoy their experience. So that's kind of the bulk of what Mike Sievert was speaking about at that investor conference. And I think what he's trying to do is he's just reassuring investors that T-Mobile's in the lead, and they're going to stay in the lead, and they're not going to relinquish it. They're working on their brand recognition and their reputation. They're aware of it. It's something that they're focusing on. And I think they've done a good job of it, honestly. Sneed Bakery with the T-Mobile kiosk. Wouldn't that be incredible, Alexis? A T-Mobile kiosk inside of a bakery. Interesting. I mean, who knows? Hey, sky's the limit. You could put those things anywhere, right? They put them in shopping malls, right? Freaking food courts and all that. All right. Last little thing here as we're kind of winding down the podcast. Sue Marc of fixedwireless.com. Again, another great writer. I read all these articles from these fine people. Sue, Bevan, and also Monica, Alvin. These are very good writers. When it comes to telecom, they're very much in touch and in tune with what's going on. All right, so Sue did a piece on the website, fiercewireless.com, giving her first impressions and her setup of the Verizon 5G home. Now, there's a reason why I want to discuss this. What you're going to be seeing this year, it's going to start picking up. 2022 is going to be a big year. People are going to start getting access to 5G home from Verizon at an accelerated pace. Two reasons. They're continuing to build out millimeter wave, and they're adding C-band to a lot of tower sites. They're going to have 7 to 8,000 sites with C-band right off the rip at the time of its clearance. That number is going to continue to increase over the course of the next year. So by the end of the year, that number is probably going to double or triple. And then probably by the end of 2023, C-band will be mostly done. They've got a dedicated $10 billion for it. So it's got its own allocated capex. That shows you that they're really big on C-band and what they're going to do. So Sue is letting people know about her experience. Now, there's a couple things you got to know. Sue is in the Denver market, which is a 5G ultra-wideband market. So you have to have that. This is why C-band is going to be big. It's going to make a lot of markets automatically an ultra-wideband market. So she is a remote worker. She has been working from home or remotely, full-time or part-time, for the better part of the last couple of decades. She has been using a local cable ISP for all of her connectivity needs. She did say that overall she has been pretty satisfied. She hasn't had problems with her ISP. But she did note that the pandemic created an opportunity for her to look around the marketplace and look for other options. Her demand for bandwidth was starting to increase. This has happened with a lot of people over the course of the last year and a half. The bandwidth demand is accelerating. It's becoming more and more critical for day-to-day tasks, for people to have their entertainment covered, have their work and their educational connectivities covered. You know, the media consumption. People are live streaming. People are watching 4K movies. They're binge watching a lot of TV. And specifically, what Sue mentioned was that her video-intensive tasks were making things really hard under the new norm. With the new norm being, we have a lot of traffic on our networks now. In her market of Denver, Verizon deploys ultra-wideband. That service is available for mobility and also the 5G home. Her neighborhood received the installations for the 5G millimeter wave nodes. Specifically, right outside of her house on her block, she has a node. It faces like direct line of sight to her house. So what she did was she inquired about the service. She called up Verizon. The representative was a little reluctant to send it to her for whatever reason. So she ended up waiting. They sent her a flyer in the mail, and then she signed up for the service. So I guess she didn't want to install it herself, which you can do. The setup is really easy. There's a video you can watch to do the install. You can just read the instructions if you want. It's super easy. I did it, and I'm a caveman. So she set it up. She set up an appointment to have a technician come out and do the installation, and off she went. The installation, a week later, it was like a 30-minute install. The technician installed the gateway on the window. I think it was like the window of her laundry room or something. And I think she said it was estimated to be like 250 feet away. So very close to her house. She likes that the hardware is Wi-Fi 6. It's got an Ethernet port. They offered her repeaters for her house. And what this would do is if your house is really big, like 3,000 square feet or something, or bigger, this will keep the signal strong throughout the entirety of the home. All right. So that's pretty much how it went. She said it was really easy and seamless. Now, performance-wise, she was very happy about what she was seeing. She indicated that whenever she was relatively close to the gateway, she was seeing wireless speeds of 1.7 gigabits per second on the downstream and 25 megabits per second on the uplink. So when she's near the gateway, she's basically getting as good as it can get. Within a couple of rooms, it was not an issue. She stayed around those speeds. When she went to the other side of the house, with a little bit of distance, she said that the speeds dropped down to like 350 megs on the downlink. And I think it was like 14 megs on the uplink. So even with like a weak point in the house, she was still satisfied with what she had. And she did mention that there were a couple of glitches with the service, but it was nothing major, nothing concerning, so nothing really notable there. She loves the price. She mentioned the $50 per month if you have the Verizon Wireless service, $70 per month for anybody who's not a Verizon Wireless customer. And she seems pretty satisfied with it. She said, unlike my cable provider, Verizon doesn't charge a router rental fee. See, that's got to be something worth mentioning. Like, if you look at like AT&T, they force the fee. They force you to have their hardware. And that's an additional like 10 or 15 bucks or something. Most cable ISPs do that. In fact, I really can't think off the top of my head many of them that don't require you to get some kind of hardware from them, whether it's the modem or the gateway or some kind of like motor router combo. It sucks because you would rather just have your own equipment and buy it once and not have to rent anything. That's a much better option if you're trying to save money and have. And oftentimes, guys, honestly, if you get your own hardware, it might be better than theirs. All right. When I was happy as a Cox customer, this is before I moved into my current home, I was using my own gear, and my gear was incredible. It was reliable. It was like, was it DOCSIS 3.1 or something like that? It does like 860 megs down, and it was great. It was perfect. Oh, that's nice, Pat. They were able to waive your fiber rental fee. That's pretty good. Yeah, if you can get your own gear, it's always better. Flexibility, you can get a more powerful piece of hardware, more reliable, and just the cost. You spend 150 bucks or 200 bucks on some good hardware, and you have it. It's yours. You use it. You can always sell it later. You can recover some of those costs. But like, you rent their gear. It's like 10, 15 bucks a month. If you have that service for a couple of years, it was a total waste of money, right? Like, you didn't get anything out of it. Nothing. But she did like that there was no service contract. Again, 5G Home does not have a contract. It also includes taxes and fees. So it's one of those things, ladies and gents, that I'm a big fan of fixed wireless access. I think Verizon's going to do it right. I really do. Once that C-band happens, and if you get the 5G ultra wideband millimeter wave near your house, I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, at the bakery, we're getting 3-4 gigs down, and we're getting like 100, 200 up easy. You know what, Don? We are just about to start the 12 gigahertz stuff. Let's go ahead and transition. All right, so T-Mobile sharpens argument for 12 gigahertz auction. This is a story from Monica Alvin on fiercewireless.com. All right, so let's be clear. T-Mobile and Dish don't get along. They are not friendly. These two are not frenemies. They're not friendly. They're not neighborly. They're none of that. They totally hate each other. T-Mobile in this story really takes some jabs at Dish. And I can't really blame them. I think they're just kind of doing a little bit of politics to it. The carriers do have that little edge to them. Dish has always been known as a spectrum squatter. And, T-Mobile wants to see the 12 gigahertz get auctioned. And Dish is kind of in on the 12 gigahertz because it's satellite. Anyways, let me get into the details of this story. All right, so T-Mobile and Dish jockeying for this spectrum. T-Mobile is taking the stance that the FCC needs to set some parameters to auction the 12 gigahertz frequency spectrum. That band is currently in use by satellite. If it's going to be transitioned over to use for terrestrial cellular, it's going to have to go through some transformations. It's going to need a totally new set of rules. T-Mobile wants to see it go in as an auction, and obviously they'll be bidding big on it. The idea is that Dish wants to have first dibs on this 12 gigahertz spectrum because they're an incumbent satellite operator, and they feel like this would be their right to do so. Anyways, T-Mobile and Dish hate each other. They've got a public feud. They're always bickering. They're always snapping off on each other, talking smack. What's up, Josh? Good to see you, man. And big shout out to John. Thanks for that super chat. Reddit is my form of customer support. I don't know. Reddit's too toxic for me, and I try to stay away. So T-Mobile and Dish have had this public feud. The beef that they have is, it's like a bad news couple. It's that couple that is like always fighting at the parties. They both drink too much. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just totally toxic. You know it when you see it, right? It's that couple. That's kind of like how Dish and T-Mobile are. So currently, the 12 gigahertz band is the subject of a notice of proposed rulemaking by the FCC. There's a diverse set of stakeholders that are debating its future. So we're probably talking about, Elon Musk of the world, SpaceX. They want to use it for Starlink. Dish wants the rules to change so that they can use it for two-way mobile 5G communications, their 5G network. And T-Mobile wants it up for auction so they can get in on it and get some more capacity for their 5G network. Quote from T-Mobile: Dish Network Corporation asserts that neither the record nor commission precedent supports an auction of terrestrial mobile rights in the 12 gigahertz band, and that the commission should instead simply gift those rights to existing incumbents. Dish is both legally and factually wrong. T-Mobile's right. Hey, look, I'm hard on T-Mobile because I think they talk a lot of smack, but they're actually right here. But I like Dish, and I want to see them succeed. So here's what I'm saying. If this was to work out in Dish's favor, I'm fine with it. On principle, T-Mobile's right. If it's going to be used for two-way communication, it should go to auction. They're right. Thank you for the super chat, John. Appreciate it, man. And also Green, thanks for that super chat. So Dish wouldn't have 4G, only 5G. Will it be standalone 5G? So there's going to be no 4G backup if anything goes wrong. So Green, what they have is they have a partnership with two companies. They have full access to the T-Mobile network. They have full access to the AT&T network. So they have LTE, but they're going to do it through those carriers. They're going to be building out a standalone 5G network, completely greenfield from scratch. So that's how that's going to work. Thanks for that super chat, Green. Appreciate you. Dish has argued that there's no need for an auction. An auction was conducted years ago, and it was one of the winners, although T-Mobile points out that there's a big difference between that auction and what they're talking about doing now. No incumbent licenses, no matter how often Dish states to the contrary, obtain the rights to provide terrestrial mobile services at auction. They're speaking to the Spectrum squatting by Charlie Ergen. Awarding mobile terrestrial rights to Spectrum non-users would provide them with an underserved windfall, T-Mobile told the agency. Dish's claim that it will use the spectrum more heavily to improve 5G service to the public is highly doubtful based on lack of use of spectrum thus far, and Dish's history of spectrum hoarding in particular. If those licenses want to provide 5G service to the public, as they assert, they can obtain those rights at auction like everyone else. T-Mobile's right. They're not wrong. They have a bad track record. They have not deployed spectrum. It was like pulling teeth to get them to do so. Gene, thank you for that super chat, my friend. They're not wrong. Charlie has not done himself any favors by behaving and acting the way he has. So he doesn't have anybody on his side. Definitely not T-Mobile. As for relocating incumbents, T-Mobile said their precedent for that in the C-band proceeding. The commission recognized they had the authority to modify a license without the consent of a license holder in order to relocate spectrum. Reallocating the 12 gigahertz band and reallocating the incumbent, as T-Mobile and others have suggested, would fall squarely within the parameters of the authority, regardless of whether incumbents say they want to double down. T-Mobile pointed out that currently only one spectrum auction is underway at the commission, then that's the 3.45 gigahertz auction. That is October 5th. Very, very close. The commission has started the process of establishing procedures for the 2.5 gigahertz auction. We have no date on that. We don't even know the rules on that, meaning the agency has ample resources to conduct an auction of the 12 gigahertz band in the near future. They're pushing for the 12 gigahertz to go to public auction. They do not want Dish to keep any. I have argued that you allow Dish to rebuy 100 megahertz and then auction the rest of it. And if Dish wants to buy more, they can. Yeah, totally agree, Don. That is actually true. I was reading that in the article, the MVDDS. I was reading about that. Big shout out to Carlos. Thank you for that, man. Appreciate the super chat. T-Mobile Ultra Capacity D's. I see you, Los. I see you, bro. But it's for the kids, man. It's for the kids. Hey, look. Look. I want Dish to succeed, but I want it to be organic and I want it to be the right way. So I don't want any shady business. I'm not into politics. You guys know me, so. Wow, Don. Massive capacity, 500 megahertz with spectral efficiency. So Don, what do you think about what do you think about 100 megahertz going straight to Dish? They can purchase it, and then the 400 gets auctioned. That would leave 400 to like Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Why not? They could each create a 100 megahertz channel, and if Dish wanted to buy another 100, they could, right? They could auction, try to get in the auction another 100. So they could end up with 200. I think that could work. I don't know. Just thinking aloud. I don't know. We'll see. Looks like a Hershey Kiss. I saw that. That emoji. Anyways, time for the poll. Real quick, we got 147 votes for the poll. If anybody else wants to vote now in the live chat, is customer care important to you from your carrier? I'm going to close the polls in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Votes are closing. And the question is asked, do you care about customer care from your carrier? Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, whomever it is you have. 77% of you said yes. 16% said it's not the most important thing. 6% said no, it's not important. Thank you for voting. You all are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Your voice has been heard. Thank you for voting. Looks like people are prioritizing customer care. Quick little story. Today I called Verizon. I was looking for I was taking care of a billing situation. I saw a credit on there. I think I was supposed to get a bigger credit. Anyways, I called. The lady was helpful. She was nice. It took a while to get to her. It was like 20 minutes of waiting, 15, 20 minutes. So it took a while. And then she could only give me so big of a credit. Then they had to send me to management. She was very kind. She was very nice. She actually thanked me for not yelling at her. It looks like people are yelling at customer care reps these days. I don't yell to customer care reps. I'm not a heathen. All right, I joke that I'm like a caveman, but I refuse to yell at customer care reps. Those people are just like you and me. They have a job to do. Sometimes there's only so many things they can do. Sometimes they're not properly trained or they don't know how to do something, and they're trying to help you, but they can't. You have to try to work through it and do so as a human, a compassionate human being. Do not yell at customer care reps. Do your best to try to work through the problems together. When you start yelling at them and cussing at them, it doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't make the problem go away. It doesn't help at all. You're more likely to find resolution in trying to re-explain, seeking other avenues of communications, being patient, these types of things. There's just no way yelling, screaming, disrespecting, and cussing at people is going to help you find a resolution. In fact, I would venture a guess, shot in the dark, if you cuss at a customer care rep, you have essentially terminated any opportunity of finding resolution, because now they're less likely to help you. Whatever they could do, now they're going to probably do the least for you. Why would you want to present that situation? So do your best to be patient. Explain the situation as best as you can. Even if it means if you requesting a manager after you've exhausted everything, you've tried all of it. Maybe they can't help you. Maybe it does have to get to management, but at least try. And if they saw that you did try to get them there and for them to get you there, maybe they'll be more willing to get you to management. But just don't go on there and start flexing and all that. There's an art to communication, you know? Yes, do not be eclectic. Don't yell at your reps. Oh, my God, man. I know because, like at the bakery, for example, we have customers and we care about them. So you have to give them customer care. because you don't want to lose customers. Customers pay you. But at the same time, as a customer, you just have to be... You have to be kind. You have to be courteous. You have to be respectful. These are people. It's somebody's mom. It's somebody's sister. It's somebody's father. It's somebody's brother. You cannot be yelling at people. And you know what's crazy, guys? In real life, they wouldn't be yelling at nobody. People don't really yell all that much in real life. I don't see much of that going on. It's just something about being on the other side of the phone. It just enables people to get out of line. I agree, Sebby. You got to stay calm. You're more likely to find resolution if you maintain respect and courtesy. Anyways, she was wonderful. She told me, I can only do so much for you. I'm going to send you to my managers. And she thanked me for not yelling at her. And I said, ma'am, I refuse to yell at any customer care reps. I know you guys are going through it. So I'm not going to be a contributor of the problem. I'm going to try to offer to be a part of the solution. She thanked me. She sent me to management. The management told me, I can do this for you. I can do that for you. I said, look, man, based on the issue, there's no way that credit's going to be enough. I need more. And he said, okay, let's negotiate a deal. He said, shoot me something fair. I gave him my number. He said, okay, I'll do it. I said, thank you. It reflected on my bill. He double checked it to see that it was there. Done. I thanked him. I said, I appreciate you helping me. And this is why I'm going to stay with Verizon. Simple as that. He took care of me. She did her best. It was wonderful. All that because I didn't cuss at anybody. All that because I didn't yell at anybody. Please do your best to remember the people you are talking to on the other side of the phone are human, just like you and just like me. Maybe this is the teacher, the educator part of me, as I am a school teacher. Have patience. Do your best. If you can walk away from the phone call knowing you did your best, what else can you ask for? And on that note, we're done with the show. Let's go ahead and wrap it up, y'alls. Thank you for watching. You guys are incredible. I love you all. If this is your first time here, I would love for you to become a subscriber. Go ahead and subscribe. Turn on the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. Also, check out the links in the description box. We've got a Patreon page. We've got the email address. We've got the Twitter handle. It's all there. Check out those links in the description box. Hashtag 2LiveCrew for those of you watching this on broadcast. What is it? September 24th, 2021, 9:45 p.m. Hashtag Replay Crew for those of you watching this anytime after that on replay. Hashtag Ravioli Gang for all of you that are eating dinner or snacking at the time of this broadcast. And hashtag Mod Squad. You guys are the best. The blue wrenches, the blue names. Thank you for holding it down for me. Unlimited ammo, keeping the trolls out of here. Appreciate you very much. And that's it. I hope you guys really enjoyed the podcast. Thanks for participating in the poll. Thank you for chatting in the live stream. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all the shares. That's how you can help the channel out. Thanks to everybody who donated. You guys are incredible. And thanks for all that you do to support the SMT Nation. Hope you guys have an excellent weekend. Thank you, MS. Same to you. And we will catch you all on the next video. Next live stream will be a Patreon exclusive. Join to get access to that. Thank you all. Take care of yourselves. Peace.